Salvete omnes. Today we are on chapter 9 of the Nāvigātiō, the voyage of St. Brendan the Abbot. This chapter, Īnsula Ovium, the island of sheep. Quorum die viderunt insulam non longe ab illis. So on a certain day, we've got the ablative there, on a certain day, they saw an island not far from them. Cumque coe piscent navigare ad illum insulam. And having began to sail to that island, subvenit illis procera ventus in auditorium. There came to them a prosperous wind in help, or for helping them, ut non laborassent plus quam vires poterant sustinere, so that they might not have labored more than their strengths could sustain. And here, vires, it's tempting to think that's men, but it's not. That'd be viri. Vires is from vis, meaning strength. Cumque navis statisse in portu, with the ship having stood or having anchored in the port, praecipit vir Dei, the man of God, meaning St. Brendan, ordered everyone, omnes, exire foras, to exit outside. Ipse autem, he himself, however, egeresus est post illos, left after them. Interesting little grammar note here. We've got praecipit omnes. In previous chapters, we've seen the author of the Nāvigātiō use praecipere with the dative, treating it as one of the special verbs that uses the dative instead of an accusative. But now, he uses it with the accusative. The fun of medieval Latin. Cumque quae piscent circu ire illum insulam, and having started to go around that island, or this island, that island, viderunt aquas largissimus manare, so they saw large waters, manare, which I believe is to flow. We can look in the Facing Dictionary. Indeed, manare, to flow or to spring. Words to flow out of the diversibus fontibus plenus piscibus, out of the various fountains filled with fish. So it's a pretty nice island to have found. Dixit Sanctus Brendanis fratribus suis. So St. Brendan said to his friends, Faciamus hic opus divinus. So let us make, use of subjunctive there. You know it's subjunctive because facere ends with an ere, but there's an a here. So it's let us make here, hic, the divine work. So this is some sort of religious rite. Perhaps they're going to say a mass. Sacrificamus Deo agnam immaculatum. Let us sacrifice to God, dative there, an immaculate lamb, quia hodie est cena Domini, because today is the feast of the Lord. Et ibi manserunt usque in sabbatum sanctum paschae. And there they remained until the holy Sabbath of Easter. Now, I put a footnote in here. I thought this was interesting. It sure looks like they're going to cook a lamb for Easter, but not all of the commentators agree. The Dickinson commentary suggests this, quote, "It is unclear whether we are to understand that the monks literally sacrificed an animal victim. In the later Middle Ages, an actual lamb could be blessed at the Easter service, but it seems more likely that the language here is figurative," end quote. So it's possible this is symbolic or figurative. However, they are on an island of sheep, and they do snatch up one of the sheep in the next paragraph. We continue. Perambulantes autem illam insulam. So walking through, however, that island, invenerunt diversus greges ovium, they found various flocks of sheep, unius colores, of one color, id est albi, which is white, ita ut non possent ultra videre terram, so that they could not see beyond the ground, prae multitudine ovium, because of the multitude of the sheep. A couple notes here. Grex, Gregus is flock, And in English, we get words like egregious. If something's egregious, it means it's out of commonplace. It's not with the flock. You're kind of went off on your own. And second, we get this interesting idea that there's so many sheep that they can't see the ground. We, as I note in the footnote here, we see the same thing happening in a couple chapters where we're at the paradise of birds and there's a tree that's covered with these birds. Really, they're angels that took on the bodies of birds, but they cover the tree and they're white and you can't see the tree because of their multitude. So interesting to see that symbol repeated. Convocatis fratribus suis, sanctus brandanus dixit illis. So having called together his brothers, so vocare is to call, convocare is to call together. St. Brendan said to them, Accipite quae sunt necessaria diem festum de gerege. So take the things which are necessary. We've got a plural neuter accusative there. So take the things that are necessary for the day of the feast from the flock. And the brothers hastened, fratres vero festinabant, secundum mandantum viri Dei, following the commandment of the man of God, ad gregem, to the flock. Qui statim acceperunt, who immediately took out of the flock unam ovum. Cum illam allegassent per cornua, so having tied it by the horns, sequebator illa, quasi domestica, it was following those ones. Sorry, illa is referring to the sheep here. That one was following like a domestic animal. The one who had the ligature in his hand, or the one who had the thing it was tied up with in his hand. Usque ad locum ubi statit vir Dei, until the place where the man of God stood. Now, there is a little tie back to the aula vacua scene where they meet the dog, and the dog walks with them, or it sits at the feet of Brendan, I think is the exact turn of phrase they use, like dogs are accustomed to do with their masters. So here they're meeting animals that are very well behaved. Iterum ait vir Dei uni ex fratribus. Again, the man of God, meaning St. Brendan, said to one of the brothers, Accipe agnum immaculatum de gregi. So take an immaculate or spotless lamb out of the flock. Qui festinava et fecut sicut sibi usum fuerat. Who hastened and did just as he had been commanded. So usum fuerat is a past passive participle plus a past tense, which makes it a pluperfect meaning. Had been ordered. Or according to the things which had been commanded to him, would be another way to put it. Cum illi parasent omnia ad opus crastinae die. So having prepared everything for the work of the following day, I put a little footnote there, for the work of the next day. Ecce, apparuit illis, behold, there appeared to them, vir, a man, habens in manus sportum plenum panibus, sub cinericiis, et ceterae quae necessaria erat. So a man having in his hand a basket full of bread, and the bread is described as subs cinericiis, which is this idea of the bread baked beneath coals, and the other things which were necessary. It's also interesting, they pick a different word for a basket. In the previous chapter, the man comes with a kophinum, now he's got a sportum. Cum haec posuisit ante virum Dei, so having placed these things before the man of God, cecidit pronus super facium suum, he fell prone, meaning face down, super facium suum, on his face, tribus vicibus, 3 times before the feet of the Holy Father, ad pedes sancti patris, or to the feet of the Holy Father, if you want a more literal translation. deacons, saying, Unde mihi meriti, so from where is it merited to me, O Margarita Dei, O Pearl of God, ut pascaris in istis sanctis diebus, that you might feast or be fed in these holy days de labore manuum mearum, from the labor of my hands. And manuum there is plural genitive. It's one of those, I believe, fourth declension words where the endings are less expected to beginner Latin learners, but uum there, plural genitive, from the labor of my hands. Sanctus Brendanus, Saint Brendan, elevato illo de terra et dato osculo, having had elevated that one from the ground, and having given him a kiss, said, Filii, so son, we've got the vocative there, Dominus noster Jesus Christus proposuit nobis locum. So the Lord, our Lord Jesus Christ, proposed or gave to us this place, ubi celebrare possumus sanctum suum resurrectionem, where we can celebrate his holy resurrection, meaning they can celebrate Easter, or the Paschal feast. Qui ait praedictus vir, to whom the aforesaid man said, Pater, hic celebras bitis istud sabbatum sanctum. So, Father, here you will celebrate that holy Sabbath, vigilias vero et missas cras in illa insula, but vigils and masses tomorrow in that island. And here these are both plural accusative. They're going with things that they will celebrate. They'll celebrate vigils and masses tomorrow in that island, quam vos videtis, which you will see, proposuit vobis Deus celebrare suae resurrectiones. So God proposed to you, or gave to you, to celebrate of his resurrection. So St. Brendan says they're going to celebrate the Holy Sabbath of Easter. They're going to have one feast at this island, and then they're going to find another island where they'll celebrate his resurrection. Dum haec dixisit, so having had said these things, coepit obsequium famurorum Dei, he began to serve the servants of God, et omnia quae necessaria erant in crassinum preparare, and to prepare everything which was necessary for the following day. Finitis omnibus et alatis navi, so having finished everything and having brought them to the boat, or loaded them into the ship, dixit ad sanctum Brendanum praedictus ver, so the aforesaid man said to St. Brendan, Vestera navicula non potest amplius portare, so your little ship cannot carry more, amplius. Ego vobis transmitam, post octo dies quae vobis necessaria sunt de cibo et de potu usque in Pentecostem. So I will send, transmitam, future, to you, after 8 days, the things which are necessary to you, of food and of drink, until Pentecost. So Pentecost is a feast that occurs 50 days after Easter, hence the name Pente. Sanctus Brendanus dixit, so St. Brendan said, Unde tu nosti ubi erimus post octo dies. So from where do you know where we will be after 8 days? Qui ait, to whom he said, Hac nocte, this night, eritis in illa insula, quam vos videtis prope. So this night you will be in that island which you see near. Et cras, and tomorrow usque in sextum horam, and tomorrow until the 6th hour. Postea navigabitis ad alium insulam, so afterwards you will sail to another island, quae est non longe ab ista insula, which is not far from that island, contra occidentalum plagam, against the western coast, quae vocator paradisus avium, which is called the paradise of birds, ibique, and there manebitis usque in octavas Pentecostum. There you will remain into the octaves of Pentecost. So he's telling them they'll celebrate Pentecost there, and they'll stay there a little while to fulfill the religious festival. Interrogabat quoque Sanctus Brendanus illum, and so St. Brendan was also interrogating that one, or asking him questions. Quo modo, how potuisit oves esse tam magni? So how the sheep could be so big, sicut ibi visae sunt, as they appeared there. So remember, visus is the third or the fourth principal part of videre. So visae sunt is they appeared. Erant inim maiores quam boves, for they were bigger than cows. Qui ille dixit, that to whom that one said, Nemo colligit lacte ovibus in hac insula. So no one collects milk, that's neuter there, from the sheep in this island. Nec hiems distringat illas, neither does winter stretch out or distress those ones. Sed in pascuis semper comorantur die noctuque, but in the pastures they always dwell day and night. Idioque maiores sunt hic quam investidas regionibus. Therefore they are bigger here than in your regions. Profectique sunt ad navem et coeperant navigare data benedictione vicissum. And having set out to the ship, and they began to sail, having given the benediction in turn there. So I do think there's some symbolism going on with this island of sheep, particularly when we get here. So often the Christian church is portrayed as like the sheep of God. And here the sheep are very big, and what are we told? No one collects milk from them. So perhaps this could be the idea of like a church congregation where no one's trying to take advantage of them. And neither is there winter that's bothering them, but they're able to dwell in the pastures day and night. So I think that's a symbol of the church there. And that wraps it up for that chapter. Next one, they are going to meet Jasconius, the sea monster.